Today, we're going to be talking about data governance. This might sound like a topic that only applies to IT departments or data scientists, but trust me when I say that it affects all of us. Just think about your day-to-day life. You probably fill out forms with your personal information, shop online, read news articles, use social media, and even interact with customer service through chats or emails. In each of these scenarios, companies are handling your personal data and information. So how do you know that they're doing so responsibly? Enter data governance. It's what holds these companies accountable and keeps your data secure. First off, let's look at some real-life examples where poor governance has led to data breaches, errors, non-compliance, and hefty fines. These are things that we want to avoid at all costs, so stay tuned and pay attention. In 2018, British Airways suffered a massive data breach due to a cyber attack which exposed the personal and financial details of some 500,000 customers. The airline was fined £20 million by the UK's Information Commissioner's Office, ICO, for its role in the breach. The ICO found that British Airways failed to protect customer information, make sure it was kept securely, and promptly notify the ICO of the breach. As a result, customers were left vulnerable to identity theft and financial fraud. In 2020, Facebook suffered another massive data breach exposing the personal information of nearly 540 million users worldwide. Facebook knew about the breach since 2019, but it took almost a year to fix the problem and notify the affected users. The company was fined $7.5 million by the United States Federal Trade Commission, FTC, for failing to protect user privacy and violating a consent order. In 2019, Google was fined $57 million by the ICO for breaking data protection laws. The ICO found that Google illegally collected the personal information of millions of children under the age of 13 without their parents' consent. We've looked at some situations where poor data governance has had serious consequences. Now let's take a moment to define data governance. It's basically the framework of rules, roles, processes, and standards for managing data throughout its life cycle. Let's break this down a bit. Data governance includes policies and procedures for data ownership, data quality, data security, data retention, and data usage. It also covers compliance with relevant laws and regulations such as the GDPR, Kenya Data Protection Act, and ISO 27001. Basically, data governance ensures that data is handled in a responsible, secure, and ethical manner. Now here's an important distinction. Data governance should not be confused with data management. These are two separate but related concepts. Data management refers to the day-to-day tasks involved in collecting, storing, and maintaining data. On the other hand, data governance provides the overall framework for ensuring that data is managed effectively and efficiently. Think of it this way. Data management is like brushing your teeth. It's something you do every day to keep your mouth healthy. Data governance, on the other hand, is like having a dentist appointment. It's something you do periodically to make sure that everything is working properly. The most important component of data governance is accountability. Someone needs to be responsible for the accuracy, security, and usability of the data. This is typically the job of a data owner who can be anyone from a department manager to a C-level executive. Data owners are ultimately accountable for the quality and integrity of the data that they oversee. They are responsible for creating and enforcing data policies and standards, as well as for ensuring that data is used ethically and responsibly. Data owners should have a deep understanding of the data they are responsible for and the business processes that use that data. They should also be able to communicate effectively with stakeholders and influence them to follow data policies and procedures. Another key component of data governance is the establishment of clear roles and responsibilities. Each person involved in the management of data should have a clear understanding of their role and what is expected of them. This includes data owners, data stewards, data analysts, and any other individuals who have access to data. Clear roles and responsibilities help to ensure that everyone is working towards the same goals and that no one person is responsible for more than they can handle. This leads to greater accountability and ultimately better data governance. Next up, let's talk about policies and standards. These are the rules and guidelines that govern how data is managed. For example, a data quality policy might specify the standards for data accuracy, completeness, and consistency. A data security policy might outline the measures that must be taken to protect data from unauthorized access, use, or disclosure. Policies and standards should be specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound, SMART for short. They should also be regularly reviewed and updated to reflect changes in technology and business requirements. When developing policies and standards, it's essential to involve all relevant stakeholders, including data owners, data stewards, data users, and legal and compliance teams. This ensures that everyone's needs and concerns are considered and that the policies and standards are practical and feasible to implement. Once policies and standards are in place, it's important to communicate them clearly to all individuals who manage or use data. Training should be provided as necessary to ensure that everyone understands and follows the policies and standards. Regular audits and reviews can then be conducted to ensure that compliance is being enforced. Let's quickly go through the key components of data governance. We've already covered data ownership and policies and standards. Now let's move on to compliance and legal frameworks. As I mentioned earlier, organizations must comply with various laws and regulations when handling personal data such as the GDPR, the Kenya Data Protection Act, and ISO 27001. Compliance with these frameworks helps organizations to protect the rights of individuals and build trust with customers and partners. To comply with these frameworks, organizations must implement appropriate technical and organizational measures such as data encryption, access controls, and regular security assessments. Moving on to processes and tools. Data governance processes provide a framework for managing data throughout its life cycle, including data collection, storage, processing, and disposal. These processes should be documented and followed by all individuals who manage or use data. Data governance tools can help organizations to monitor and enforce data governance policies and standards. These tools can include data quality management software, data security monitoring tools, and data governance platforms. By using data governance tools, organizations can automate many of the tasks involved in data governance, freeing up their staff to focus on more strategic initiatives. Finally, let's discuss the benefits of data governance. By implementing effective data governance practices, organizations can make better decisions based on reliable data, improve compliance with laws and regulations, reduce the risk of data breaches, increase trust with customers and partners, and improve the efficiency of data management processes. Before we wrap up our discussion on data governance, let's take a look at some of the challenges organizations face when implementing data governance practices. One common challenge is lack of executive buy-in. Data governance requires support from top-level executives who must champion the effort and allocate the necessary resources. Without executive support, data governance initiatives can easily be sidelined or ignored. Another challenge is poor documentation. Data governance processes and policies must be clearly documented and easily accessible to all staff members. However, many organizations struggle to keep their documentation up to date and accurate. This can lead to confusion and inconsistencies in how data is managed. Additionally, organizations often lack a comprehensive data map, making it difficult to understand how data flows through the organization and where data is stored. This lack of visibility makes it challenging to ensure that data is being managed effectively and efficiently. Finally, organizations may lack the skills and expertise to implement data governance practices effectively. This can be a particular challenge for smaller organizations that do not have a dedicated data governance team. Now let's talk about some best practices for data governance. First and foremost, Organizations should seek executive support and sponsorship for data governance initiatives. Executives should be involved in setting the overall direction for data governance and in communicating the importance of data governance to all staff members. Secondly, organizations should establish clear roles and responsibilities for data governance. This includes defining the roles and responsibilities of data owners, data stewards, and other individuals who manage or use data. Additionally, organizations should provide training and development opportunities for staff members involved in data governance. This will help to ensure that staff members have the skills and knowledge necessary to carry out their roles effectively. Organizations should also implement a data governance platform that allows them to track and monitor data governance policies and standards. This will help to ensure that data is being managed effectively and efficiently. Lastly, organizations should regularly review and update their data governance policies and procedures to reflect changes in technology and business requirements. This will help to ensure that data governance practices remain relevant and effective over time. If you want to dive deeper into the world of data governance, we've got you covered. Be sure to check out our other videos on topics like data privacy and data security. And don't forget to hit the like button, share this video with your friends, and consider subscribing to our channel for more tech tips and tutorials. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.